Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always ready.
Okay, great. So, you guys have been sending in a ton of stuff about nothingness,
Yeah.
articles, notes, all sorts of things about vacuums and like empty space,
Uh-huh.
even like some really mind-bending quantum physics stuff.
Right?
So today, that's exactly what we're tackling. Like, can there ever truly be nothing?
Mm-hmm.
And we even got this video, right, exploring this whole concept. And I gotta say, I always thought a vacuum was just, well, empty space.
Yeah.
Turns out, not so much. Way more complicated.
It really is. And you know what I think is so interesting about this is it really challenges how we think about reality every day.
Right.
We think of nothing as like the absence of things,
Right.
but it's so much more nuanced than that.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. Let's start simple, like an empty glass,
Oh.
a clear sky. We usually think of those as nothing, right?
Right. But even those empty spaces,
Yeah.
they're full of air, and air is full of molecules.
Oh, okay. So already nothing is not so simple.
Right.
Then you have vacuums, which I'm guessing aren't as simple as like sucking all the air out of a container.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Creating a true vacuum is actually incredibly difficult.
Really?
Even the most advanced vacuum chambers, they still have a tiny number of particles.
Okay.
I think the video you sent mentioned ultra-high vacuums.
Yeah.
They have only about 100 particles per cubic centimeter.
Hmm.
Now, that might sound like a lot,
Yeah.
but regular air has something like 30 quintillion molecules in the same space.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
That puts it into perspective. So even the emptiest space we can create in a lab, it's not even close to empty.
Exactly. And this is where scale becomes so important.
Oh.
Like, we think of a vacuum cleaner
Yeah.
as creating nothingness,
Hmm.
but compared to a true vacuum, it barely makes a dent.
Wow.
In fact, a vacuum cleaner at sea level
Mm-hmm.
creates pressure that's similar to the air you'd find in, say, like Denver, Colorado.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So to find even less matter, to get closer to true nothingness,
Yeah.
we got to think bigger,
Absolutely.
like beyond Earth.
Exactly. Let's take high altitude flying, for example.
Okay.
Imagine you're in an airplane, 30,000 feet.
Okay.
The air outside is incredibly thin.
Hmm.
And that's why, planes need to be pressurized.
Right.
Otherwise, it'd be like trying to breathe at the top of Mount Everest.
Right. I heard of hypoxia, like
Yes.
not having enough oxygen.
Exactly.
And, that video actually showed a man experiencing hypoxia.
Yeah,
And it was pretty scary.
it is scary.
He seemed alert, but he couldn't even follow like basic instructions.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of just how crucial air pressure and oxygen are for us.
Hmm.
And what's so fascinating is, even though he appeared conscious, the lack of oxygen was severely impairing his cognitive function.
Wow.
He couldn't make rational decisions, even when his life depended on it.
Yeah, that's both terrifying and intriguing at the same time.
Yeah.
It really highlights how much we just depend on the air around us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of like extreme examples, the video also mentioned this thing called Armstrong's Limit.
Yes.
Things get even wilder there.
Yeah, Armstrong's Limit. It's around 60,000 feet above sea level.
Okay.
At that altitude, the air pressure is so low that water boils at body temperature.
What?
Yeah. So without a pressurized suit, your blood would literally start to boil.
Oh, okay. That's straight up horrifying. But it also kind of makes sense, if we're talking about getting closer to nothingness.
Yes,
Fewer particles, lower pressure, things get weird.
absolutely. And, this idea of matter, like
Yeah.
constantly intruding,
Yeah.
even when we try to create emptiness,
Right.
it leads to another important concept,
Okay.
outgassing.
Outgassing. Okay. What's that?
So it's the release of trapped gases from materials.
Hmm.
And it happens even in those like ultra-high vacuums we talked about.
So even when we remove the air, matter still finds a way to sneak back in.
Exactly. It's like the universe is constantly trying to fill the void.
Wow.
And it happens in everyday life, too. Think about that new car smell.
Oh, yeah.
That's outgassing in action.
Really?
The materials in the car, the plastics, the adhesives, the fabrics,
Okay.
they all release gases.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates that distinct aroma.
So even a brand new car isn't truly empty.
Right.
It's full of all these invisible gases that we don't usually even notice.
Exactly. And, I think this really highlights a key point.
Okay.
Nothingness is a constant struggle against somethingness.
Hmm.
Even when we remove air, matter finds a way to kind of like reassert itself.
Okay, I like that. So let's take this to the ultimate vacuum.
Go.
Outer space. How empty is it really out there?
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
So when we consider the vastness of space, the emptiness, It is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But even there, we find varying degrees of nothingness.
Oh, okay.
The space between planets in our solar system has about 10 particles per cubic centimeter.
Wow. That's already way less than anything we can create on Earth.
Right.
Oh, wait, the video mentioned something even emptier.
Yes.
Interstellar space.
Exactly. Interstellar space, so the space between stars,
Okay.
has only about 1 particle per cubic centimeter.
Wow.
But the real champion of emptiness is intergalactic space.
Intergalactic space. Okay, you gotta tell me about this.
All right, so in the vast stretches between galaxies,
Yeah.
you find regions with just 1 or 2 particles per cubic meter.
Per meter.
Per meter, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That level of emptiness is almost impossible to even comprehend.
So we were this close to finding true nothingness, you know?
Yeah.
A place where there's literally nothing at all. But of course, there's always a twist.
Of course.
Quantum mechanics enters the picture.
There it is.
Throws a major wrench into our quest for nothingness.
Exactly.
Quantum mechanics. Okay, here's where my brain might start to melt a little.
It definitely challenges our traditional way of thinking.
Yeah.
So quantum mechanics introduces this concept of virtual particles,
Okay.
which are constantly popping in and out of existence,
What?
even in a vacuum.
Hold on. Virtual particles. What are those? And how can something exist and not exist at the same time?
It's a very mind-bending concept,
Yeah.
but think of it this way.
Okay.
Virtual particles are like these tiny fluctuations in the fabric of space-time.
Hmm.
They kind of borrow energy from the vacuum,
Okay.
exist for a fleeting moment, and then they disappear, returning that energy.
So even in the emptiest regions of space, there's this constant buzz of activity, even at the quantum level.
Exactly. It's like the universe can't sit still.
Wow.
And you know what? We have evidence of this, the Casimir effect, for example.
Okay.
It shows that when you place 2 metal plates extremely close together in a vacuum,
Uh-huh.
they experience a force pushing them together.
Wait, really? How does that work?
Well, the leading theory is these virtual particles. They're constantly popping in and out of existence, both inside and outside the plates.
Mm-hmm.
But because the plates are so close together, only certain wavelengths of virtual particles can exist between them.
Okay.
So this creates an imbalance in pressure,
Oh.
with more virtual particles pushing on the outside of the plates, causing them to attract.
Okay, that is incredibly complex, but also mind-blowingly cool.
Right.
So even in a vacuum where we thought we'd find emptiness,
Yeah,
there's this whole hidden world of quantum fluctuations going on.
exactly. And this isn't just like a theoretical curiosity,
All right.
the Casimir effect. It actually reveals this hidden energy, even in the vacuum, which suggests that true emptiness might be an illusion, even at the quantum level.
Wow. This deep dive is already making me question everything I thought I knew about empty space.
Yeah.
So we've gone from like a simple empty glass
Right.
to the mind-boggling world of quantum fluctuations.
It's quite a journey.
What's next on our journey to uncover the truth about nothing?
Well, now that we've kind of explored like the physical aspects of nothingness, I think it's time to venture into like the realms of philosophy
Oh, okay.
and the human mind.
Okay.
After all, the concept of nothing, it has profound implications beyond just the scientific world.
Okay, now we're getting into really interesting territory. I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's do it. So, so far we've really been focused on the physical world, right?
Yeah.
The nothingness of space and vacuums and all that.
Right, right.
But the concept of nothing, it also has a really long history in philosophy.
Okay, yeah, that's where it gets really interesting for me. So we've explored empty space, but how do you even wrap your head around, like, nothing philosophically?
Well, philosophers have been grappling with this idea, like, for centuries.
I bet.
Some argue that nothing is like the foundation for everything else. Think about it. Without nothing, how can we even define something?
That's a good point. It's like you need silence to appreciate sound, or darkness to see the light.
Exactly. And then there's the question of whether our minds can ever truly grasp, like, the concept of nothing.
Yeah.
Can we even imagine a state of pure non-existence,
Yeah.
where there's no thought, no sensation, no awareness?
That's a tough one. It's almost like trying to picture a color you've never seen before.
Right. And this is where things get even more fascinating. Some philosophical traditions, like Buddhism, for example,
Okay.
they use meditation practices to quiet the mind
Mm-hmm.
and approach a state of emptiness.
So we're talking about nothingness as an experience, not just like a concept.
Precisely. But even then, it's debatable whether that state represents true nothingness
Hmm.
or simply like a different kind of awareness,
Okay.
a heightened state of being.
Okay, so we've gone from like empty glasses to the vast emptiness of space, and now we're exploring the potential emptiness within our own minds. This deep dive is really taking us on a journey.
It is. And here's where I think it gets really thought-provoking.
Okay.
These different perspectives on nothing, the scientific, the philosophical, the experiential,
Yeah.
they all seem to kind of converge on a similar idea,
Okay.
that nothingness might be more of a concept
Hmm.
than an actual state of being.
So if true nothingness is impossible to achieve,
Yeah.
does that mean that everything is connected in some way?
That's a great question. And it's one that physicists and philosophers are still debating.
Yeah.
The interconnectedness of everything, it's a key concept in many spiritual and philosophical traditions.
Right.
But it's also gaining traction in modern physics,
Oh.
particularly in areas like quantum mechanics and cosmology.
It's almost like the universe is this giant interconnected web, and even the seemingly empty spaces are buzzing with activity on a level we can barely grasp.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And this realization, I think, has profound implications for how we understand ourselves and our place in the universe.
Yeah.
If nothingness is an illusion,
Right.
then perhaps our sense of separation from each other in the cosmos is also an illusion.
Wow, that's deep. It makes you wonder if there's like a deeper meaning to everything, even the things we perceive as empty or meaningless.
It certainly opens up a whole new way of looking at the world.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to the importance of questioning our assumptions.
Hmm.
We often take the idea of nothing for granted.
Right.
But as we've seen, it's a concept that's filled with complexity and mystery.
So embracing the mystery of nothing is actually a key to understanding the universe and our place in it.
Absolutely. The more we explore the concept of nothing, the more we realize how much we don't know. And that's what makes it so exciting.
You know, this deep dive is really making me think differently. I'm starting to see the world around me, even the empty spaces, in a whole new light.
That's the beauty of exploring these big questions.
Yeah.
It challenges our perspectives
Right.
and opens up new possibilities for understanding the universe and ourselves.
This has been an incredible journey so far.
It has.
We started with like a simple empty glass and ended up exploring the mind-bending world of quantum physics and like the very nature of reality itself.
It's amazing how a seemingly simple question, like, can there ever be nothing,
Yeah.
can lead us down such a fascinating and thought-provoking path.
I know I'll never look at an empty space the same way again. And for you listening out there, I hope this has given you plenty to think about.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
That's right. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the science of vacuums to the philosophical and even the personal experience of nothingness.
Yeah, it's been quite a deep dive.
It has. But as with any deep dive, it's really about prompting further exploration.
Right.
More questions, a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe around us.
So what's the one key takeaway you hope our listener walks away with today?
Yeah, it really has. I think if I had to sum it up, the biggest takeaway for me is that nothingness as we usually think about it, it might actually be more of an illusion than reality.
Yeah, I completely agree. Whether we're talking about space
Yeah.
or even our own minds, there's
Right.
always something going on, beneath the surface.
It seems like the universe just doesn't like to be empty,
Right.
even at the tiniest levels. It's
Yeah.
constantly filling every space with energy, matter, or potential.
It's like that saying, nature abhors a vacuum.
Exactly.
This whole deep dive has really made me reconsider how I think about emptiness. Maybe instead of fearing it or trying to fill it up,
Yeah.
we can learn to embrace it, as a source of creativity and potential.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Instead of seeing nothing as like a void,
Yeah.
what if we saw it as a canvas for infinite possibilities?
I love that. So if there's no such thing as true nothingness, where does that leave us? What does it mean for how we understand the universe and our place in it?
That is a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's like a single answer.
Right.
But for me, it suggests that everything is interconnected, even in ways that we can't always see.
Yeah.
The smallest actions, they can have ripple effects throughout the cosmos.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it that way.
It really is. And this idea that there's no true nothingness, it also makes me think about the constant evolution of the universe. Even in the, quote, emptiest parts of space,
Right.
virtual particles are popping in and out of existence,
Yeah.
creating this dynamic, ever-shifting landscape.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the science of vacuums to the philosophical and personal experiences of nothingness. It's amazing how a simple question like, can there ever be nothing, can lead to such profound insights.
That's what makes these deep dives so rewarding.
Yeah.
It's about sparking that curiosity, inspiring you to keep exploring the mysteries of the universe, even in the seemingly empty spaces.
I know I'll never look at an empty space the same way again. And for you listening, I hope this is giving you plenty to think about. Until next time, keep diving deep.